Hey everyone, Fox from Fox and Kit Woodworks and Fox Den Videos. You looking for a router that doesn't break the bank and is a good budget-friendly option and will still have the power you need? Well, we're going to go ahead and do an unboxing and initial review of this SKIL router to see if it meets that criteria. Stay tuned to find out more. So as I was saying, this is going to be an unboxing and an initial review of the SKIL 14 amp router. I picked this up on Prime Day to add a router, or I should say a second full-size router to my shop. I already have the Delta 618, but it's currently set up in my router table, and it becomes kind of a pain taking it in and out, switching it from Plunge Base to Fixed Base and back to the router table. So I needed something that I could use a little bit easier with the Plunge Base, but also to set up in the jig here, this flattening jig that I got from Crafted Elements, which we'll be getting a review later. But looking at Prime Day, this was on sale for 99 bucks, and it's a 14 amp, has lots of power. I had watched some reviews from other channels on it and thought, you know what, I think I'm going to pick that one up. And so now it's my turn to tell you my initial thoughts of it and also unboxing it and showing you what all comes with it. So, first off, when we open it up, comes decently packaged, just all in the cardboard, no foam inserts in here. But what you get is this plunge base. The router itself, which is already set up on the fixed base. Looks like some dust extractors, or connections for dust extraction. Couple rods, that's probably going to be for an edge guide. And in this box, you get your edge guide. Your wrench for your collet. And it looks like your 1/4 inch collet too, and a few other little pieces. So we'll take a look and see what these all do. And finally, the instruction manual, which I usually just toss them to the side, but we're going to go ahead and hold on to this one just in case we need it for some stuff. So as we can see, we get a pretty decent amount of things. When I picked up my 618, all it came with was the plunge base, the fixed base, and it came with little plastic adapters for your dust collection. The one nice thing I do like about this is that it comes with the edge guide. For my 618, I had to actually buy that separately. So the fact that it actually comes with it is kind of nice, and this is a nice feature so that way if you're trying to do some inlays or working just straight on one edge to make sure everything's nice and lined up, you can get a nice straight line out of it. All right, now let's take a look at the router itself. So this is in the fixed base, and what I mean by fixed base is this one here is the plunge. And for anyone that's not familiar with a router, this one you can only adjust the depth of the cut for it, while this one keeps the blade up off the workpiece, and then what you can do is actually compress it down to start your cut. The router itself feels very hefty, not in a bad way, not too heavy, but nice and robust, like it's not going to break. And actually feeling it, the only parts on it that are plastic or plastic and rubber are these handles, which actually have a good feel and fit to the hand, and this shroud on top. The other thing that this comes with is a digital readout for your speed control. In the book, I actually took a quick look, and the different settings actually match up to certain RPM, so that way you can reference that in the book to figure out, depending on the size of bit you're using or the type of material you're cutting through, what's going to be the most appropriate. Also, it has a soft start feature, so when it spins up, it's not going to just go immediately to high speed all the way to what you have it set to. It's actually going to work its way up, which just makes it a little bit easier to control. And it also has a speed control. So if you set it to like 3 on the speed, we'll just call it 3,500 RPM, as you're making your cut, and that cut might become more difficult because you're working on a harder piece of wood, it'll actually start to speed up the motor and increase the speed to keep that cut the same through the whole cut as it bogs down, which is kind of a nice feature for it. It also has some LED lights so that you can actually see the area you're working on when the tool is put on the piece of wood. Now moving over to the plunge base itself, has a good feel to it. Again, it's made out of metal. The only plastic bits on here are kind of these caps and the handles themselves, which they are the same as the one on the fixed base. And you actually have a guard here, basically a dust guard or chip out guard so that things don't go flying out this way. And then you have your adjuster here, which is kind of your preset stopping points, and it just clicks with a little detent on it to stop. This is your adjustment for your depth control. You actually have a measurement gauge here on how much it's going to be depressing. And one kind of cool thing that I noticed on both bases is that they have these little wing nut kind of things. These are the locks for the guide. So once you put that guide together, you're actually able to slide it in and then lock it down to where you need, versus a lot of them you have to either use like the little screws and then tighten them off, tighten them on. I really like how quick that is for that. So let's look at the bag. In the bag, it comes with your 1/4 inch shaft collet, so that way it can be changed out with the 1/2 inch size, which is what's in here already. And then you have some dust collection options that will be mounted inside the router itself to be able to allow it to do your dust collection. And it looks like, as the car drives by, this one is for the fixed base, and all it does is just twist in, which is kind of nice. And for the plunge base, you actually are going to screw it in. So let's go ahead and put it together and kind of see what it looks like. So for this edge guide, it's actually a super simple assembly. I started putting it together and figured I'd show you guys. There's just a Phillips screw on the back of here, and all you got to do is, there you go, get it off. You slide it through the first hole and align it with the hole in the back, put your screw through, and just tighten it down. So really simple, quick, easy setup on that. I really like how quickly that comes together. And then you can take your Phillips and tighten everything down and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go over changing it out to the plunge base just to see how that works, because I think we're gonna try the plunge base first with it. And I haven't looked at the instructions on how to take this apart, but we're gonna go ahead and just see if we can figure it out on our own. Right here is a basically a locking lever that's gonna lock the shroud down to the motor itself and the router. So if we unlock that, we now actually have adjustment of play on it, but you can see there's a little tab here that gets in the way, and if you just, let's see, push on this button, it comes out of the way and it slides. So that's how you can do your quick adjustments for your depth control, and they're slotted about every 1/2 inch. But then if you hold it down, you can pull it all the way out. All right, so for the plunge base, there's a little detent right here, a little nipple that kind of comes out, and then there's this line here. And I might have to go out of camera view because it was a lot easier to do. I had to try it again. I was having a hard time doing it here, but basically you line up that line with that detent, and you just slide it right in. Once it's in, you can lock it down, and now you're in business to start going. So pretty cool feature there. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see how that soft startup works without a bit in it, and just kind of see how everything works here. Okay, now that we're plugged in, let me go ahead and show you some cool features that I'm just seeing on this right off the get-go. One, you got a green indicator light here showing you that the machine is powered. Now, once again, I want to show you there is no bit in there, so while I'm holding it this way, I'm not going to cut myself on anything. Worst case scenario, I get spun up on it. When you click the plus and minus, you can see that screen there. It says hardwood, and as I click on it, it actually changes the speed and shows you what you're going to. If I click the set button, it then allows me to choose the type of bit I'm using. And you can see that in the little screen there, depending on if it's a chamfer, a straight cut, whatever. And if I hit set again, then it actually tells me the size of the bit that I'm using. And then the last one is the type of wood I'm using. So right now it's on hardwood, softwood, plastics. So you actually get quite a different bunch of options on here to be able to set on. Check out that soft start feature. That's nice. I like that. I don't know if you can hear it in this because my mic kind of cancels it out, but it starts off slow and then ramps up to speed. All right. I'm really liking that so far. Okay, and we're back. I am now set up with the router with a 1/4-inch plunge bit. I've got my dust extraction set up, and I've already preset it to a hardwood 5 with a plunge router bit of under 1 inch. So let's go ahead and see how well it cuts. All right, so dust collection on it's great. It keeps all the dust and wood chips out of it so I can see where I'm cutting at. Right now I'm cutting at about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch deep. I'm kind of varying it. I left a little slop in there so that way I can kind of see how it runs. Ran into a little snag here because I didn't flatten this all the way out, but it's cutting really good. It's smooth, nice clean edges, very little tear out, just a little bit on the top here, and I could probably get that out if I just did a little bit better speed control, but it's hickory. It's kind of hard to work with. So as you can see here, this is what I was working and cutting with, just kind of doodling around. You can see there's just a little bit of kind of flaring and tear out here, but I think that's either the router bit or the speed control. But for the most part, the whole thing is pretty clean all the way over. So let's go ahead and step back in the fox den and give you our initial thoughts. All right, so we are back here in the fox den and going to go over the initial thoughts on this SKIL 14 amp router. So right off the bat, has plenty of power. That was some hickory, just a little 1/4 inch bit, but I was going down almost a 1/2 inch and it cut through it really no problem. Also, I really like a lot of the features it comes with. The fact that it does have that digital display, so you can get all those little variables put in between the size of your bit, the speed, the type of wood you're cutting through, the soft start, the LED lights. It really does come with a lot of things that even more expensive routers do not come with, and it comes with it for a beginner's kind of package to kind of get you into. So I really do like this off the bat initial review. I will be doing a more further in-depth review once I get it mounted up to the slabber here, and I'm going to be putting on this big flattening bit and giving it a go. So when we get to that point, I will do another re-review of this, but my initial thoughts, it's a great purchase. If you're looking for a budget router, comes with plenty of the things that you would need and pretty much all the things you need to get going, get started up, minus your router bit. You all stay safe. Have a great day. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and share it to your friends. Have a good one.